Yesterday we saw with respect to local winds, right? So when we say planetary winds, before discussing this, we should talk about the forces responsible. The first one is pressure gradient force. So it normally says that wind blows from high pressure to low pressure. Second, pressure gradient force also tells us that whenever pressure difference is more, then wind speed is more. And it indicates steep gradient. And this in exam they will give you, if isobars are closely arranged, right? Anywhere if isobars are closely arranged, what is the meaning of closely arranged? Whenever isobars are closely arranged, it indicates steep gradient, that is difference is more, steep gradient, which means wind speed is more. So this will be the question is, from pressure gradient force, the question will be, whenever isobars are closely arranged, it indicates steep slope. And if it indicates steep slope, wind speed is high. That is the first thing that you learn from this isobars. Second, shall I? If isobars are distantly placed, it indicates gentle gradient, and gentle gradient means wind speed is less. So these two are the statements that come from pressure gradient force. Which is the second one? The second force is frictional force. Which hemisphere frictional force is more? Which hemisphere frictional force is less? Northern hemisphere it will be more, southern hemisphere it will be less. What is the reason? Land is more in the northern hemisphere, less in the southern hemisphere. Any comparison between northern hemisphere and southern hemisphere is distribution of land and water, right? So frictional force more in northern hemisphere, less in southern hemisphere due to land and water distribution. Then we have also seen that in the atmosphere, layers are divided into frictional layer and non-frictional layer. This atmosphere, till 3 kilometers we call it as frictional layer. Above 3 kilometers it will be non-frictional layer. Fine. 3 kilometers frictional, above non-frictional. The reason is, as we go above, density of air reduces. Fine. As we go above, density reduces. Fine. Then gravitational force, you are aware. Third, so we'll take Coriolis force. Last year they asked question, Coriolis force. So first, it is not a force, but it is an effect. So statement can be, due to Coriolis force, there won't be change in speed, there will be change in direction. Right? Speed doesn't change. What changes? Direction changes. That's why it's not a force, it is just an effect. And second, Coriolis force is 0 near equator. It is 0 near equator, 90 at poles. 0 near equator, 90 or maximum at poles. This is because, what is the reason? No, Coriolis itself is rotation of the earth, but why is it minimum near equator, maximum near poles? Geoid shape of the earth, that is bulged near equator, compressed near the poles. Bulged near the equator, compressed near the poles. Because of geoid shape of the earth, we observe Coriolis force is 0 near equator and maximum near poles. 0 near equator means, what is equator here? 5 degree to 5 degrees. 5 degree to 5 degree. Equator here 5 degree to 5 degree. And because of this, cyclones are not formed near equator. This is one of the main reason why cyclones are not formed near equator. Which latitude cyclones are not formed? If they ask, 5 degree to 5 degree. In that particular part, you will not observe. When I say maximum near the poles, when we say maximum near the poles, it is above Arctic Circle and below Antarctic Circle. Beyond 66.5 and 66.5, Earth is flat. Okay, above and below. So maximum will be beyond Arctic and Antarctic. Minimum will be 5 degree to 5 degree. Right, this is the area. Then, and like this is the reason in ITCZ you will have equatorial westerlies. So everywhere equatorial westerlies is mostly about what? Or equator is mostly about what? 5 to 5, mainly because of this reason. Fine. Next, third, due to Coriolis force, objects would deflect to the right in the northern hemisphere and it would deflect left in southern hemisphere. Due to this, it is mostly, not always guys, exceptions are there, mostly clockwise in northern hemisphere, mostly anti-clockwise in southern hemisphere. Exception to this is cyclones. Within the cyclone, there will be anti-clockwise in the northern hemisphere, clockwise in the southern hemisphere. Exception is cyclones. Rest all comes in this one. Then Coriolis force acts at right angle 90 degree to pressure gradient force. Hope you recollect, right? It is always at right angle, not right angle to the pressure gradient force. Next, pressure gradient will act on ocean water. It will act on wind, berths, aircrafts, missiles, etc. Last, if the speed of moving object, is more, Coriolis effect is more. Fine. Deflection is also more. If the speed is more, deflection is also more. What is the main reason for Coriolis force? Rotation of the earth, revolution of the earth in tilted axis. What is the reason? Okay, let me tell you two things. Rotation of the earth, rotation of the tilted axis, rotation of the earth in tilted axis, or revolution of the earth in tilted axis. What is responsible for Coriolis? Rotation in tilted axis. Okay, let's say earth is straight. Okay, if earth is straight also, if rotation occurs, can I say spherical objects will have Coriolis effect. So it has nothing to do with what? Tilt. Tilt is important mostly for seasons, day and night. Okay, Coriolis is mostly associated with what? Rotation. Right? See, different places will be moving at different speeds. That is the reason you will have Coriolis effect. And here Coriolis effect is purely due to what? Rotation of the earth. Has nothing to do with tilt and all. It is about the spherical object. Fine. So it is due to rotation of the earth. Okay. Now talk about the properties of the winds, guys. First one, trade winds. They are mostly present in which cell? Hadley cell. What are the two trade winds you have? Northeast trade winds, southeast trade winds. Okay. You see, tell me, looking at this, northeast southeast. Does trade winds always blow from east to west? Whether it is north or south, does it move from east to west? Yes. No. Because southwest trade winds are also there. Do you recollect? Monsoons, what are they called as? Southwest monsoons. Correct. They move from where to where? West to east. Do we call them with any other name, or do we also call them as trade winds? Southwest trade winds. They are also called as what? Trade winds. So don't go by general application. Exception will always be there in geography. Just that you are not aware about the exceptions. There will be some areas where they move in different directions also. That's why, remember, exam is not about understanding at this point of time. Exam is all about identifying which is the right one, which is the wrong one. UPSC won't change the technique. That means UPSC won't change the concept. Okay, they won't make the concept different. What they do is, same line, not they will add. Same line, only they will add. Okay, you just need to search for those words. Is it only? Is it always? Everywhere? Can it be there? Just think about it and then come to conclusion. Very less number of questions will be there where everywhere it will be possible. So if you search for those keywords, that's enough. Exam, MCQs, I know the concept, but I'm getting it's bit tricky. That time just understand the line, not only these are the words added by the examiner. Okay, they will either add or remove. Okay, cannot can become can. Okay, so this is where it comes into picture. Please understand, they have to give original sources. They cannot create new questions. They have to give from the sources. When they give from the sources, they will copy paste. While copy pasting, you check not will be added. Doesn't, shouldn't. They will do these things. You got this? So what are the other winds that you have? South, west trade winds, north, west trade winds. These two winds are called as what? What are these called as? Seasonal winds. Which are the two seasonal winds? Southwest trade winds and then northwest trade winds. Guys, which hemisphere southwest trade winds will be there? Which hemisphere northwest trade winds will be there? Try. Which hemisphere southwest trade winds will be there? Which hemisphere? Southwest trade winds is in northern hemisphere. India will be affected by what? Southwest monsoons. So it is in which hemisphere? Northern hemisphere. Northwest trade winds will be in southern hemisphere. See, this is another mistake. What they do is northern hemisphere, southern hemisphere, they change. Right? That you must be clear about. Done? What are these two? These two are planetary winds. Shall I move? Second is which one? Westerlies. Which cell westerlies will be there? Ferrule cell. And ferrule cell is from where to where? Subtropical high pressure to subpolar low pressure. Faster in southern hemisphere, slower in northern hemisphere. Why? Land and water. Faster in southern hemisphere due to what? In other words, friction. I hope you recollect. It is known as roaring 40s, furious 50s, shrieking 60s. Fine. Westerlies are responsible for movement of which cyclones? Temperate cyclones. Temperate cyclones move from west to east because of westerlies. Can you name a temperate cyclone which hits India? Temperate cyclone which hits India? What is it called? Western cyclonic disturbances. Okay. Then guys, I'll move. Polar easterlies. Polar easterlies. Polar cell. Polar high pressure to subpolar low pressure. Fine. Then air masses not required for your prelims. Okay, don't worry about air masses and all. What is required is just frontal conditions, right? In frontal conditions, the first one is warm front. Okay, diagram is very, very important. Warm front is whenever warm air mass enters into cold air territory and rises along, see, about this, the first statement that you must be aware is gentle slope. Please understand, warm front rises along gentle slope and it will form a series of clouds. Okay, what are the types of clouds that are normally formed? Stratus clouds. And because of this, you will normally observe drizzling rainfall. They will give characteristics. In question, they will always give characteristics. Will you have thunderstorms, lightning if you have stratus clouds? No. Then sky is covered with clouds. Okay. The series of clouds are which one? Stratus clouds. Next, if we take cold front, so what will happen in the cold front? Which air moves? Which air moves? No. See, rising is always warm air, but whenever cold air enters into warm air territory, then it becomes cold front. If warm air enters into cold air territory, it becomes warm front. So rising is which one? Which clouds will be there? Cumulonimbus. First, what type of slope it is? Steep slope. Second, which clouds? Cumulonimbus. Will there be thunderstorms and lightning? So which slope or which front is associated with thunderstorms and lightning? Cold front. Okay. Now, shall I? Third, occluded front. Last stage of cyclone. In this stage, cold air is below, warm air is above. This is called occlusion. Last stage of cyclone, and this is, in other terms, called as frontal inversion. If they ask which stage is frontal inversion, it is occluded front, also called occlusion. Yes. Shall I? Which is another one? Stationary front. First stage of cyclones. Stationary front will be first stage of cyclone. Now, they can compare temperate cyclone with tropical cyclone in the question, or ask temperate cyclone separately. So, temperate cyclone is formed due to a process called as frontogenesis. Okay, there are two conditions for frontogenesis, guys. What are the two conditions? Two air masses must move in opposite direction, right? And the two air masses, one must be cold, another one must be warm, right? If both are warm, they mix. If both are cold, they mix. One should be hot, another one should be cold. So for frontogenesis, two air masses of different temperature. Second, converge in opposite direction. You tell me, temperate cyclones are formed only over water bodies. No, they are formed on both. Which is formed only over water bodies? Tropical cyclones. Temperate cyclones are formed over both land and water. Temperate cyclones are formed over both land and water. The direction of temperate cyclone is from west to east. Because of which winds? Westerlies. Then diameter of it will be 300 kilometer to 3000 kilometers. Will it be faster than tropical cyclones or slower than tropical cyclones? Slower than tropical. Will it be more destructive or less destructive? Yes. This is previous year question, guys. Just look. Structure. Temperate cyclone is represented by inverted V shape. Okay. Temperate cyclone is represented by inverted V shape, and in this, on the northern side, we will have cold air, and in the southern side we will have warm air. Think about it. Poles are above, temperate region is below. So poles you will have cold, below you will have warm. And because of this, please see, cyclones will move anti-clockwise or circulate anti-clockwise in the northern hemisphere. Do you recollect? I told you there is an exemption. You see here, if you take cyclone, okay, is cyclone a low pressure area or a high pressure area? Low pressure. So you will have low pressure at the center, high pressure surrounding. In exam, when you get confused, you can just check this. So if I am in the northern hemisphere, it will turn to the right. As it turns to the right, cyclone is which side? Which circulation are you seeing? Anti-clockwise. See, cyclone anti-clockwise. Here you see, cold should come, warm should go. Now you only tell, if cold is coming, can I say cold front? If warm is going, we call it as what? Warm front. So this part, what will be there? Cold front. This part, what will be there? Warm front. Now, what was the question? One, two, three, 4. Where will you have thunderstorms and lightning is the question. What is this? What is 1? Warm air. Warm air. What is 3? Cold air. What is 2? Warm front. What is 4? Cold front. So where will you have thunderstorms and lightning? Cold front. That is which part? Right? Here you will have what? Cold front. Cold front is associated with thunderstorms and lightning. So that's why structure is important. Even though it's an old question, like geography, it is static part. So repetition can be there. Okay. Cold front is represented on this side. So that indicates it is thunderstorms and lightning. Done? Shall I move? Then nice. Tropical cyclone Newton. First, is it formed over both land and water or only water? Only water. See, only is very less, and this is one condition. Okay. Does it require dry air or moist air? If dry air is required, it can be formed on land as well. Right? It requires moist air. It is formed due to high temperature. So we say it is thermally induced. That is due to high temperature, it is formed. Thermally induced. Think properly and tell. Which side of the oceans tropical cyclones are formed? Which side of the oceans? For oceans. For land, eastern side. For ocean, western side. That's the only confusion you'll have. Like eastern side of the continent, western side of the oceans, you will have cyclones. Can you tell why? In that region, warm currents will be there. Ocean currents will be warm. That is the reason eastern side of the continents, western side of the oceans, you will have cyclones. So if you check North America, Gulf of Mexico, Gulf Stream is the ocean current, and it is called hurricanes. Fine. In North America, Gulf of Mexico region, you'll have Gulf Stream, you get hurricanes. Asia region, China region, South China Sea region, Kuroshio warm current, it is called typhoons or typhoon. Near Australia, Pacific Ocean, East Australian current, Willy. In Indian Ocean, it will be called as what? Cyclones. There is no specific north and south, everywhere you have So Indian Ocean is cyclones. Shall I move? Yes. Then, what is the average temperature required for tropical cyclones to be formed? 24 to 27 degree Celsius. Okay. What is the depth till where sun's rays must penetrate? 60 to 77 meter depth. There must be solar radiation. Another way of asking the question is, why cyclones are absent on the western side of the continents or eastern side of the oceans? Cold currents will be there. Cold water will be there. Why is it present on the eastern side? Warm water. Why is it absent on the western side? Cold water. Then, shallow waters, can cyclones be formed? It can be formed, but they die soon because of not presence of moisture continuously. That is the reason when they come closer to the coast also they die. Okay, so shallow waters are not helpful. Which waters are important? Deep waters are required. Then you tell me, should there be Coriolis force? Coriolis force must be present, and this is the reason cyclones are absent near equator, right? Then, is there requirement of ITCZ? ITCZ must be present, and this is the reason cyclones are absent in South Atlantic Ocean and Southeast Pacific Ocean. ITCZ doesn't shift in South Atlantic and Southeast Pacific much. There must be some vertical distribution of air. Mark these points as important. Please revise it before once, because cyclones, especially tropical cyclones, possibility is there. Lot of times they have asked questions on cyclones. Last, yes, I hope you have read anticyclonic circulation must be present at the height of 18 kilometers above eye of the cyclone. Two things, it must be above, not below. Below will be cyclonic, so above will be anticyclonic. The moment I say anticyclonic, the meaning of that is, it is diverging air. Diverging air. Okay. Next. What is the structure of tropical cyclone? What will be there at the center? You'll have eye, and what are these clouds? What is the cloud called? Eye wall. Eye wall is made up of which type of clouds? Cumulonimbus clouds. Whereas these are all rain bands. Yes. And rain bands can be made up of any type of cloud. It's not mandatory which type of cloud is there. Any type of cloud can be present. And guys, is it low pressure area or high pressure area? Low pressure. What is the meaning of low pressure? Converging. Yesterday I told you, what is that? Converging and rising. What is this area called? This is called as what? Anticyclonic. What will happen here? Diverging. What will happen here? Converging. Okay. See questions now. Temperature near the eye is 10 degrees Celsius less than the surroundings. Yes or no? You tell me, should it be high temperature or low temperature? High temperature. That means, can I say it should be hotter than the surrounding rather than cooler? Right? Do you have clouds in the eye? No. Clouds will not be present in the eye. Is sky clear in the eye? Yes. Right? And then, eye wall, will there be thunderstorms and lightning? Yes. Then, will you have rain bands moving outwards or moving inwards? Outwards. Clouds always move outwards. Right? These are the principles of tropical cyclones. Okay. Within the cyclone, circulation is what? Clockwise or anti-clockwise? Anti-clockwise. What is a cyclone movement? What is movement of cyclone? Done with this? Yes. You see, two aspects. I have India. I have cyclone. How does cyclone move in the northern hemisphere? Anti-clockwise. But when it comes under the influence of northeast trade winds, it will move from where to where? East to west. But due to Coriolis force, it turns to the right. Can you tell what is this? Can you tell? Is it clockwise or anti-clockwise? Guys, please understand. Circulation is anti-clockwise. Circulation is anti-clockwise. Movement is what? Clockwise. Movement of cyclone is always clockwise. That is in the northern hemisphere. Whereas circulation is anti-clockwise. If you take southern hemisphere, what is circulation? Circulation is clockwise. Be very careful with these terms, and also this next 30-40 days ensure you don't sleep at this time. You can't understand CSAT. First of all, CSAT you don't understand. English language is very difficult. Understanding, applying everything, if you are awakened only, difficult. Like, you're sleeping, then gone. Please try to have a practice of morning and afternoon exams. 2:30, 4:30, 9:30 to 11:30, at least 2 exams you write. I know many people last half an hour is the time, whatever comes to your mind, go with that. Last half an hour, first paper also, 11 to 11:30, you see time if you want, 11 to 11:30, whatever your mind tells, this is correct, go with it. It will be correct. Whether you understand or not, your mind understands. Somewhere I have seen, mark it. don't make the mistake of marking differently in question paper and marking differently in that is 10 to 15 questions of every student. Like, everyone does this mistake. They are very confident when they mark, but don't know. They change, and after coming back they'll tell, I thought this, I marked this. One attempt, guys. This mistake costs one attempt, and trust me, whether you remember or not, your mind remembers what is right. The moment you see any question, what option comes to you is very important. Second, 2:30 to 4:30, trust me, it's very hectic. It's very, very hectic. And many people, they attempt 35-40 questions only because of this. Not because it's difficult. You attempt more in CSAT. You will never see a student telling, I attempted more, but I got less in CSAT. You see. Everyone will be more like, I attempted 38, 37, 33 is enough. I lost. So I'm telling you, attempt more. Be very, very mindful when it comes to 2:30 to 4:30. This timing is very crucial for you. I'm not worried about the first paper. First paper, it pushes you. Even if you have not slept in the entire night, you'll work. But only for first paper. Second paper, mine doesn't work. I'm telling you, practice it and practice for 2 hours. Please don't sit for half an hour, 45 minutes, 1 hour at this point. If you're sitting with a test, it should be 2 hours. I know people who perform extremely well. Are you facing this? They perform very well if it is half an hour. They perform very well if it is 1 hour. The moment the paper is 2 hours, they do not have that patience at all to sit for 2 hours. Last half an hour is the key of all the students, where you will be extremely good. Don't waste that. And in that half an hour, whatever comes, as I'm telling you again, whatever comes, you go with it. And these draw and check in the exam. Okay. See guys, whether all these comes or not, one question is always asked from world climate, guys. Fine. There is no year where there is no question from world climate. So okay, so I'll give you certain points that you must remember so that it would be easier. First, this box. Five degree to 5 degree. Hot, wet. Equatorial climate. In the world, it is mostly in Amazon and Congo. Map based one question can come either on Amazon or on Congo. Don't just look at rivers, even look at the tributaries of it once and the states or countries through which it passes. These two, Amazon and Congo. Okay. And yeah, it's 5 to 30 30 to 45, 45 to 60, 60 to 90. What do you find on the eastern side of the continents? Tropical, marine climate. In between the continents, you will find which one? Tropical grasslands. Here you will find tropical deserts. Mediterranean climate. China, Gulf type, Natal type. What is this? Temperate grasslands. British type, Siberian type, Laurentian type. Tundra. Okay, now see guys, this is all coast. Okay, please see, these are all coast. These are all coast. Coast means marine influence. The moment marine influence comes into picture, you will have diurnal range to be less. Correct? Marine influence means what? Diurnal range will be less. And when we say annual range will also be less. Which areas? Coast. Coast. Anywhere if it is coast, what is the condition? Marine conditions. Marine conditions means diurnal will be less, and then now the question will be what? Diurnal range is less in which of the following? If they give you options, grasslands cannot come. Why? What is this type? What are these three? Siberian, temperate, tropical. What can I call this as? Continental. These three are which one? Continental. These are which one? Marine. First aspect. Clear? This clarity must be there always. Second, you see, which one will produce fog, guys? Hot or cold? Cold currents will create fog, or warm currents will create fog? Cold currents. You see here, this region almost till here, warm currents will be there. Now, almost till here, warm currents will be there. In this region especially, which current will be there? Cold current. Almost till here. So if they ask you, where do you normally see fog formation? In the oceans, right? Closer to deserts. Closer to deserts, fog formation will be there. Where will you have cyclones? Eastern side, marine climate, you will have cyclones. And guys, if you see Oyashio, Labrador, they are all present on the eastern side. And in this particular part, Have you heard North Atlantic current? Alaska current? They come in this path. Okay. So wherever warm water is there, I'll make you write all those, but do you get this? Cold currents, warm currents, they determine the questions. It's very simple for you to identify if you know certain aspects. Okay. First, where will you get rainfall throughout the year? They may give you a diagram where there will be, what do you call it as, like, rainfall distribution. So every month, if rainfall is there, every month rainfall is there, where will you have rainfall throughout the year? Like, one is equator, second is these three. Okay. The moment you see rainfall is present throughout, where do you get? Either this or this. Fine. This you will get, and this area you will get rainfall throughout. So some keywords to identify, you write down below. I'll just give the points quickly. You write hot, wet, equatorial climate. Hot, wet, equatorial climate. So the words that you have to look for is, first, see guys, diurnal range is less. Diurnal range is less. Another word, seasonless region. Rainfall throughout. Rainfall throughout. Okay. April and October, highest rainfall. Equinox time, right? Equinox time, they'll have highest rainfall, April and October. If you see the term epiphytes, if you see the term hardwood, canopy, in all these cases, it will be hot, wet, evergreen forest, right? Hot, wet climate. Leached, acidic soil, and where shifting cultivation is done. Okay. Next, right? Tropical monsoons. Second one, tropical monsoons. Diurnal is less. Clear cut seasonal rainfall is. Clear cut seasonal rainfall, where summer rainfall, winter no rainfall. Okay. How to identify? how to identify. Sometimes they may give you this and tell you which city are you talking about. Okay. So how to identify summer? See, in the map, other season no rainfall. Other season no rainfall. Which season rainfall will be there? Summer. So in the map, if they show June, July, more rainfall. June, July is which time? Summer solstice. During summer solstice, if you have more rainfall, what is the meaning of that? Monsoon climate. Winter, if you have less rainfall, no rainfall, then it is called as what? Monsoons. And in southern hemisphere, can you tell me which is the thing? Summer in southern hemisphere is what? December and Jan. So if rainfall is more in December and Jan, right, then it is southern monsoons. If it is more in June and July, it is northern monsoons. They may give you places of Australia, they may give places of India and ask you where you will see this rainfall. Okay, UPSC has gone to the basics again. These are all basic questions before. He is asking more of basic questions. It's all about application. So here, just remember, monsoon means which rainfall? Summer. Summer is which time in the northern hemisphere? June, July. When is summer in the southern hemisphere? December, Jan. So at that time, if you get rainfall, it is called as what? Monsoons. Right? And which are the places? Seasonal rainfall. And which trees do you get in this particular part? Deciduous forest. Which are the places you find it? India, Nigeria, Northern Australia. Third, tropical grasslands. Tropical grasslands. So you tell, is grasslands in between or is it present on the sides? In between. So what it would be? Continental. Diurnal is more. Yes. This word, definite, wet and dry, if you see, it is tropical grasslands. Fine. Definite, wet and dry is tropical grassland. Cotton, millets is predominant. Another name for it, savanna, Campos Llanos. Savanna, Campos Llanos. Campos and Llanos are in South America. Savanna is in Africa. In India, savanna is in Telangana region, right? Gujarat and some parts of Bundelkhand. Yes, another term that you should check is, it is also known as great game country. Savanna is also known as great game country. Hunting is more in this region. Fine. Tropical deserts. Which side of the continents are they present? Western. Please look at this. They may change this to eastern. Eastern side of the continents, deserts are present. Just be careful. West and east. They do mistakes in this. Western. And what are the three reasons for this? Offshore trade winds, presence of cold currents, it is a region of subtropical high pressure. Okay. Yes. North America. Sonoran Desert or Mojave Desert. Current responsible is California current. California current. South America, which is the desert? Atacama Desert. Which is the cold current responsible? Humboldt current. Yeah. Can you tell South Africa? Which is the desert present? Namib, Kalahari. Which is the cold current present? Beniguela cold current. Northern Africa, which is the desert you have? Sahara Desert. Canary cold current. Canary cold current. Next, guys. Australia. Sandy Desert. Victoria Desert. Simpson. West Australian current. This is about deserts. Next. Mediterranean. So first word is, you should understand it is western. It is warm temperate. It is the moment you see winter rainfall. Which region gets winter rainfall? It is Mediterranean. Wine cultivation. Winter means which months? December, Jan. Summer dry. Okay. Winter rainfall. Summer dry. Wine cultivation. And this region is where most of Europe is present. Temperate deciduous. Fine. Yes. What are the words for grasslands? Temperate grasslands. Yes, you will see the word semi-arid. Low height of grass. They can also use the term meadows. So tell me, temperate grasslands, will it be marine climate or continental climate? Yeah, it will be in between, so it's always continental. Continental means diurnal is more. They can use the term steppes. Where do you find steppes? Eurasia, Europe and Asia. Match the following can be asked. North America, prairies. Where is Pampas present? Yes. South America. Where is Veld, guys? What is present in Australia? What is present in New Zealand? New Zealand. Another key word for this is they are known as wheat granaries of world. Done? China type, Gulf type or Natal type. it is marine climate. If it is marine climate, diurnal range is less. Please see, the main word here is summer rainfall. Summer it is more, but in other time also rainfall is present. Throughout. British type, it is mostly on the western side. Rainfall throughout, but it will be comparatively less. Marine influence, diurnal range is less. Temperate, evergreen forest. Last, Siberian. Yes. Only in northern hemisphere, extreme continental climate, diurnal is not more, diurnal is maximum here. Highest diurnal range is seen here. Rainfall throughout. Coniferous forest. Laurentian. You look at the word east, associated with cold current. Less rainfall, but it will be throughout. Diurnal is comparatively more because of cold currents. Is possibility of cold desert also. Possibility of cold desert. You might have heard about Pampas, Patagonia Desert, South America, associated with Falkland Current. Last. Tundra. Permanently frozen. And due to climate change, grass is coming in this region. This is climatology, guys. Okay. In this, as I told you, rotation, revolution, right? Clouds, radiation, reflection, world climate, mandatory. Remaining and all, whatever we have seen, that is from prelims point of view. Okay. Take break. We'll start with geomorphology.